Hi, and welcome back to Worm Watts, where we harness the God-given power of compost worms to transform organic waste into amazing living fertilizer. Now, I am so excited to be back here. We've had quite the adventure with our bins. And as we open this one today, we are in our Rachel bin, which is our bin of red wigglers. Oh, look at that. Right there on the surface, we've got quite the acrobat. So that is super cool to see. But we've got worms all up. You can really see them quite high on the edge of our bin. And last time we were looking at this bin, we were hoping to see the worms. Uh-oh, we've got a worm here trapped in this web here. But last time we were in this bin, we had been hoping to see the worms start to make their way further up in this leaf litter stratum. And I think they've done just that. So we had this thing full. Oh my word. Look at this. This is truly sowbug city. And you can see the sowbugs are actually going in and out of the eyes of the coconut. So that is super exciting for me to see. And look at all of that traffic there. This is just incredible to watch. And we've also got our worms. So right next to them, you can see the worms right there. We've got one right there on the edge of the bin. We've got more in the actual body of the bin. And this leaf litter, this has just been incredible how quickly it has shrunk down. So I'm really impressed by that. But I'd love to just show you a close-up here of these worms as they move along. Let's watch them just as they traverse the edge of the bin. But they are everywhere. I'm seeing them navigating the lid of the bin. I'm watching them on the edge of the bin. They are just doing fabulously. I mean, this entire ecosystem is just flourishing so much. And so this is really exciting. The further we get away from the edges of the bin, so the edges of the bin you can tell are a little bit darker and they look a little bit more processed. Whereas, processed by the worms and all of the critters in the bin. Whereas the closer we get to the middle of the bin, we really see. Wow, again, I'm getting distracted. But look at that. We've got these isopods literally crawling in and out of this coconut. That is just so cool to see. I'm going to zoom in on it so that you can just get a really neat look at this. This is incredible. So I'm hoping that they are devouring the actual flesh of the coconut. And I hope that they continue to work on the actual coconut itself, or the hull of it. I'm feeling it right now with my finger, and it feels structurally sound. So it's not like they've, completely devoured the entire thing. But it's just so neat to see them actually getting in and out of there. And they're using the worm blanket. Looks like the worm blanket's actually, you can see it's got some holes there. So this whole thing is just very, very active and a really beautiful bin to be a part of. So look at the sowbugs. I'm going to zoom out. You can see them all scurry about as we open up their highway to the light. And even inside of our worm blanket, you can see them going. Right here on the edge, we've got a worm here. Stop and admire that for a little bit. So this is just absolutely incredible. I'm gonna zoom in so that you don't miss out on any of this. Look at this. Wow, it's like a nest of sowbugs. That's incredible. So I'm not seeing a ton of roly-polies, but that is a-okay. The isopods are alive and well. Wow, just incredible to witness the entire thing. And yeah, the worms in the midst of all of this are doing great. So this bin is great. It looks like it's in good condition, and I think we're ready to go ahead and transfer some of the worms from this bin into the leaf litter bin. And I'm really hopeful that they'll thrive just as much as they have here. But it's just been really cool to see, and I hope they have a similar neat partnership with the other critters in their own bin when I transfer some of these. So very cool all around. So gonna put the lid on this. I'm gonna pull up the leaf litter bin, the new leaf litter bin, the fungal-dominant one, up next to it, side by side, and then we'll just go ahead and pluck one worm at a time over into the new bin. So very excited. Stick with me. All right, so here we've got these bins side by side. Here was the bin we were just in. This is our Rachel bin, and then this is going to be our leaf litter bin. And so I'm going to open up the leaf litter bin. Let's see where we're headed. Let's see what it's looking like. We've obviously had some concerns about ants, and so I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves with that bin. So I'm going to swing this open right quick as well. I like the moisture that we're seeing right there on the surface. That's nice. That's been a very important part of just making sure that this bin is really ready to go. I do see an ant, a rogue stray ant right there. Let me see if I can focus in on it. Right there on the leaf. So I'm hoping that they will not be a problem. I do not want to lose our worms to the ants. But that remains to be seen. All right, so we've got an isopod over there, seems to be doing well. I'm gonna spray this bin down because it's been a little bit since we've been in it. Just make sure everything stays nice and moist. The temperatures kind of dropped a little bit just in our area in general because we're seeing fall conditions kind of start to make their way in, which is exciting. We definitely want to make sure that the bin stays nice and moist. Basically, we don't want to take for granted that just because it's cooling down that the moisture level is going to be easier to maintain. So going ahead and spraying that down. And now take a look underneath our sack here. Everything looks okay so far. So I know that I've had some concerns, but let's go ahead and add in the worms. Let's see how they do. This is not a ton of leaves. If I take out the sack, you can kind of get an idea. I would say that this container is about half full of leaves. And we're just gonna go ahead and I'll put the worms along this edge here and let them work their way through the bin. So let's open up the Rachel bin right next door. We've got got some worms here on the lid. Look like they've been fairly active, so I might start with one of those. Here's one right here. This be one of our pioneer worms. I'm just gonna, oops. It's shrinking away on me, trying to get away. There it goes, curling up. Very vigorous worm, this one, which is good. That's what we want. Oh wow, look, I've actually got worms right here too. So got quite a few worms up here in that like this top area of the bin. Not sure if I'll be able to catch this guy. Giving me a run for my money. Oh good. All right. Oh, it shrunk back so fast. Okay. Well, catching them out of here is not going to be the easiest. I'm going to get inside of the bin. I think that could make things just a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and focus on inside of the bin. And right here on the edge, I've got this worm here. Looks like it'll make a good candidate. Oop. And there's the first pioneer into the new bin. I think it would help if I had some kind of something to get underneath them and kind of scoop them up with. Because yeah, these guys are moving. They're actually not that easy to, not as easy as I expected. It's a bit more difficult than I expected it would be to grab a few worms. So let's go ahead and see. Here's another one right here on the edge of the bin. This has been an easier location to grab them. Maybe I'll grab a shovel or something. I didn't anticipate eating one, but that might help. I've got another one here. Kind of got it moving. Don't want to distress it too much. And I got another one. Worm number 2. So we've got 2 worms in there so far. They're both from the lid of the Rachel bin. And I'm gonna try to see if I can capture this guy. This has been tough. I should call this the worm rodeo. Just trying to wrangle them has been more challenging than you would expect. They really can move and shrink back quickly if they feel like they're being threatened, and that one definitely seems to feel that way. I'm gonna try a quick trick and see if I can just dump it into the bin and collect it that way, but nope, it's not. Nope, that didn't work. So, but I do have this one moving right toward my hand. There we go. Perfecto. And there's another one into the bin. So that's 3 down. And a lot more to go. So, aha, here's another one trying to escape, I guess, or trying to get away. In it goes. That's 4. So worms on the lid have been really helping make this a little bit easier. And I see another one. Not sure if you can make it out there too. I'm gonna try to wrangle that one as it tries to go over these separators. All right. Got it. And there it is in my hand. It's kind of stuck in some spider web, but just lay it down right there on that on the surface of that bag. It's relatively moist, so it should be able to maneuver its way along. And I'm just gonna spray it in the vicinity, not directly onto the worm, but just to make sure that that area stays moist. I believe that is 4 worms now. Hope I haven't lost count. 4 worms into the new bin. And I'm still looking up here. I've got one right there at the corner. Appears to be alive. Just gonna... Alright, that's 5. Alright, so we've got 5 worms in there so far. Just watering down that area. And I'm hoping that they'll be able to kind of nestle down and find a place to feel safe. I've still got this worm over here that I really want to get out of here. It's been really difficult to get to, but I'm going to try to use my finger and just kind of, there we go. Oop, I got one. And finally got this, oh, nope. Nope, that guy does not want to, got him. Haha. I think that's 6. If we can get this one, that'll be 7. Oops. Still at 6. That one doesn't want to come with us. Aha. Got it. 7. All right, so we're 7 worms in. And I've got this guy here. And I dropped him, so he seems to have gotten away. Right now we're sitting at 7. I might be able to catch him. He hasn't really wandered further away, so got him. In he goes. All right, that's 8 worms in. So far we've transferred 8 worms from the Rachel bin to our new leaf litter bin. We're still going. We've got a couple worms here on the lid of the Rachel bin that we might be able to wrangle. Getting better at converting these to successful transfers of our pioneers. Let's see if we can get this guy. All right, got it. There it is. That's 9. And this one here would be 10 if we can get to this one. But it's really nestled into that. Oh, there he goes. Kind of, there we go. We'll keep trying to egg it out that way and then we'll catch it over here. All right, we got it. That is 10 worms in the bin. And hopefully, because they're all in this same vicinity, kind of hoping they'll be able to find each other and link up. Again, trying to keep that area moist. And with the light there, I would hope that they would kind of migrate away from the light and further down into the bin, but so far that has not been the case. Hoping this is not too traumatic for them. All right, so I think we've exhausted the worms on the lid. There's one right there that I can see. I'll zoom in so you can see it as well. I might be able to get that one out. There it goes. Oop, lost it right there. And I might be able to just egg it along until it falls into the other bin. Got it. Okay. Perfect. So that now makes 11 worms that we've transferred over, if my counting is correct. Oh, we've got 2 more on the lid. Look at those 2. You can see them in the corners there. So we'll egg those 2 out. If we can get both of them, that'll take us up to 13. So again, we're just chasing them out one end and then grabbing them when they go over the... There we go. Whew. Come on. Sorry. Not getting the best angle for this. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're gonna try this one more time. I'm gonna switch hands. Oopsies. All right, here we go. Where's our escape artist? Okay, so now we're looking right over here. And I'm just going to, again, kind of egg it out via that way. And then, as it clambers over the divider, we'll just try to catch it. Nope, nope. Nope, it got away that time. Yeah, this worm's pretty good. Zooming in so you can catch the getaway. Look at just the steady movement. You don't see a lot of worms moving to this degree, and again, I hope this is not too stressful for them as we try to relocate them, but they are getting around. Kind of makes you what happens after dark in the worm bin. How much movement is there? So, all right, we're doing the same thing. We're trying to get this guy to... All right, there we go. Got him in the middle of the bin, middle of that segment there, and oh gosh, there we go. Got him. And now we're gonna relocate. That's 12 in the new bin. And if we can catch this guy, that will make 13. So I'm gonna try to get a good shot for you. I'm try to go at the middle and then just nudge up. There we go. Before it can shrink back too much. That one was all stretched out. Oop. Oh, come on. All right. Oh, there we go. We got it. That's 13. 13 into this new bin. So we dumped it in there. Aha, here is 14. Another one on the lid. So I'm wondering if these are going to be the escapees. Oh, didn't quite make it there. Almost. It's on the lid of its new bin. So I should just zoom in on this so you can catch it. Look at that worm go. So I should just really be able to nudge it in. And hopefully gravity will help the rest of that. So yeah, it made it into the bin. There it is. So that should be 14 now. 14 worms now that we've got in there, that we've transferred in. And the good thing I'm seeing is, I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to show you the corner where we've been putting them. I'm not seeing any of them in the leaf litter down there anymore, so it looks like they've found a good spot. I've still got 2 more up here on the worm blanket, and they seem to be doing okay. I'm hoping they don't stay up here too long because I don't want them to dry out. So again, we're going to spray this down. I'm going to make sure that this stays nice and moist so that they don't have any difficulty traveling. All right. So we are at 14 worms now, if my count holds correct. And I believe we've exhausted those that were on the lid of the bin. I'm not sure if they just have a knack for being on the lid or if those are just the more adventurous ones, but we've got a whole bunch of them there. And then look at this. Sometimes I see this in my bins. You'll find worms that have found a nook like that. And it almost looks like they would be mating in there. Not exactly sure, but I'm really tempted to just kind of put something in there and kind of see if I can get all of those worms in one go into my hand and then transfer all of those together, because they seem to be pretty invested in sharing their lives together. So I'd love for them to be able to start in the new bin as well. So let me see if I can gently prod them out. I'm going to start from the top, kind of work my way down. There we go. Got a little bit of a worm awakening here. And here we go. Let's see if I can, got one in my finger. Okay, that one I can probably take. So we've got one there. All right, now I'm gonna continue. See if I can just tease those worms down. I think there are 2 more in there. So I think we're sitting at 15 worms added, if I'm not mistaken in my count. All right, look at this. All right, and I think I've got on my finger, let me zoom in. I think I've got 2 worms there. So we just went from 15 to 17. Oop, they're still on my finger. I'm trying to make sure that I've got the right count. And I don't think I do. I think actually we went from 15 to 18. There were 3 worms in that little group there. So 18 worms. That was quite the catch. I do feel pretty accomplished in catching those guys. So we've got 18 worms in there. And we're gonna keep looking. We've got past all the isopods. Let's see what worms we can find. We've gotten just about all of the worms that are on the surface, so I may have to dig down into this bin. So let's go ahead and pull that back, and let me make sure that you can see me pretty well. Now it's time to dig. All right. And I'm just digging gently. I'm expecting, oh, there we go. There goes a worm. That's worm number 19. And there's another worm right there. See if I can tease that one out. That's a big one. And that is worm number 20. So we've got 20 worms in there so far. And as we continue this, we're actually doing this on the weekend of the first week of the NFL season. And one thing I thought would be kind of neat would be to see how much progress the worms in this new bin can make over the course of an NFL season. And so I've already got a couple more worms right now. Let me zoom in so you can see them with me. Got this one right here. That makes 21. 21 worms. And this one here makes 22. So we've got 22 worms. And the worms we're finding seem to be fairly mature. They don't seem to be super small. They seem to be of sexual maturity based on, and you can tell based on the clitellum. This one here looks a little bit small, but the clitellum is like a raised band that you'll see on the worm. And I don't quite see one on this one. And before it falls off my finger, I'm going to put it into the new bin. Alrighty. Are we at 23 now? I think we're at 23 worms in there. Alright, so pulling back some more. Found another one. That would make 24 if my counting is correct. And here is, oop, I almost thought I had a 25th, but it got away from me. And here we go in the corner. Here's 25. Oh boy, it's tunneling vigorously trying to get away. All right, there is 25. All right, so we've got 25 worms in there. And I think we can make it to 30 fairly soon. So let's give that a go. There's one, right on the tip of my finger. All right. So that is 26. I love the consistency of the castings that come from the leaf litter. This is number 27. And as you can tell, again, the isopods are everywhere, but the worms are doing just fine too. We've got worm number 28 now. So there's 28. I'll be curious to see where all those worms have gone once we get back over to the new bin. See if any of them are still visible. Here's worm number 29. And let's go to a different region now. Just saw a worm in this middle of this leaf litter. That's kind of the one that we would like to have. One that isn't afraid to get into the middle of things. Oop, there it is. Worm number 30. All right. So we've got 30 worms transferred over into the leaf litter bin. And I'm just looking around to make sure that, see what's going on with all of the, there were 2 worms that were on the top of this. And I see one of them here seems to be making its way down, which is good. And I don't know where the other one has gotten to. So no idea there, but hopefully it's off to good and better things. This is where the corner we've been consistently putting all of the worms in. And I'm so excited to see what happens with this. This is probably one of my favorite bins, just to see something that's gonna take a little bit of time. It's powered by fungal decomposition largely. And just seeing how alive the other bin is has been incredible. So really excited about that. Anyway, sorry. Let me get back to the point that I was trying to make. We are in the first week of the NFL season, and I think that it would be neat to see, come the Super Bowl, how much progress our new pioneer worms in this bin are able to make. Now, obviously, there will be reproduction happening along the way and different things of that nature, but I think it's going to be exciting just to see what they can do and how they can transform that bin. This is still just so amazing to me. It's like a volcano of isopods coming out of this. It's like they're blanketing the worm blanket, and they are having a field day with the coconut. For what it's worth, the smell of the bin is also quite neutral. There's nothing offensive. And yeah, it's just, this is a really rich bin to be a part of. It's just a wonder to look at what God has created and how they, and just how the hustle and bustle that is occurring within this small ecosystem that's right under our noses, right beneath our fingertips. And it's neat to be able to even have a role to play in it. Got a worm caught right there in the leaf litter. I'd like to go ahead and pluck that one out and transfer it over. So we'll see if I can do that. Got it. Getting better at wrangling these guys. So we will transfer that over. Kaboom. All right. So I believe that's 31 worms in this new bin. And let's keep going. Let's see how many we can get to. For what it's worth, an NFL team has 53 players on the active roster. That does not include practice squad folks. So I just looked that up here recently, and I feel like that could be a nice number to shoot for. But that is a lot of digging. So hopefully I can find a little worm ball or something to help speed this up. Otherwise, we're going to be at this for a while. Oh, here's another worm. Right on the worm blanket. That's definitely one we could have a go at. Oh, look at it. It just disappeared into the worm blanket. There it goes. So That's nice to see. The worm blanket is nice and moist enough for them to go in and out of there. Maybe I can catch it on the other side. I don't know. This is something else. Ah, here we go. Here's a worm. Got it. And we'll just pluck that one in there. That's 32. Unless my internal counter has betrayed me. So there's 32 here. It could be 33. There's 33. All right. So, come on, worms. And it's really interesting to see how they've actually made this, the whole worm blanket, part of their highway, if you will, the paths that they traverse. And that's how this ends up breaking down over time. Really cool. All right, let's dig to a different part of the bin. Let's go ahead and go to this corner back here. Let's see what we find there. Look at that. Okay, I have to show you this. You got a big isopod and then it looks like a little line of other isopods following behind. All right, here we go. Here's another worm. Got it on my finger there. I think that's 35. It's either 34 or 35. Losing count now. Here's another one. And an isopod, but that'll be fine. All right, so we're either at 35 or 36 now. Got some pieces of wood in here. Go figure. I didn't expect them to be so... Oh no, those are not pieces of wood. Those are coconut. Pieces of coconut shell. So here we go. Here's another worm. Transfer that one over. We currently sit at either 36 or 37. And while the isopods keep busy, we're going to keep busy too. I do have some isopods that are leaving the bin, which is not too worrisome because of how their numbers have exploded. All right, so we're digging down here, trying to see if we can pull a few more worms. Oh boy, we got some down there. All right, got one. Got a second. I think we're at 38-ish now. Definitely losing track. So we'll do our best to get to 53. That's the best I can do for you. Okay. This is not as easy as it looks. finally wrangled that one. Look at that one. It's a pretty big one. So I think we're at 39-ish now. Alrighty. That'll be 40. Okay. 13 more. I'd love for someone to give me a true count of how many we actually pulled. Here's another one. So that's 41 according to our count. Here's 42. All right, we got 43. And here's another strong digger. 44. I'm very curious as this one works on my finger. Where is your cotillion, buddy? Not really seeing it. Looking for a raised band again, so we'll put that one in anyway. So that's 44. We're 9 away. Okay, here's 45. $46. $47. $48 and $49. Nope. Oh, here's 48. Let me go back and see if I can grab 49. Here we go. Here's 49. Next one makes 50. That's 50. And we have 3 more. Here's 51. Oop, almost lost it. 51. The deeper we dig, what do we find? Oh, there we go. All right, there's 52. And there's our team, 53. Give or take, hopefully close enough. So we've got our team. Let me try to zoom this back out. Thank you. All right, so whew, that was a lot of digging. A big thank you to the to the Rachel bin for giving us about 53 of its loyal members. So we've got them in there. And we've got a nice little bin on top of here, or it's a nice little blanket on top of there. I'm gonna spray these guys down. They've been through a lot today. I will acknowledge, I believe that isopods do enjoy having a part of the bin be wet, or moist rather, and another part of it be somewhat dry. So the fact that this does dry out is not a big problem. The fact that the top dries out is not a big problem for the isopods. For the worms, we do want it to be moist throughout. So I'm just gonna moisten that down, and as you can tell, as I mentioned earlier in our video, the members of this bin are making quick work of the leaf litter, so it might be time to very soon for us to either add more leaf litter or look at harvesting. So that's exciting. But over to our new bin. We tossed in a lot of worms and they seem to be doing well. I've still got this one here on this fabric, and I kind of want to just kind of toss it in there so it doesn't dry out on here. I'm gonna go ahead and, it looks like it's also a smaller worm. It's kind of struggling with getting down, but I do want it to get further down in there and not be stuck up here. I think it's still struggling as well with the web that it was caught on. So I'm gonna try to, let me see if I can get it down. Oop. There we go. Now I'll try to, there we go. Okay, now it's actually in the bin. We put 53 of those guys in there, and I feel like that gives them a good chance to succeed. I haven't seen the ants really like out in force or anything, so that also gives me makes me feel good about the way this transfer has gone. And again, I'm just going to moisten the top of this. I'm also going to add on some of our eggshell to the bin, and then it'll be time to bid these guys goodnight. What a marathon this has been, but well worth it to start a new bin. So some things to keep in mind when you are starting a new bin. Before you add your worms, you really want to try to, if at all possible, to try to work on the microbiology of your bin, to try to make sure that it's pleasant to microbes. And leaf litter is a nice way of doing that, because when you have leaves that have been out and about, these are some that I gathered from last fall, so almost a year now. And when you have them sitting out in the elements, they do pick up, you know, fungal spores, and they do pick up different bacteria along the way. And all of that helps with just increasing the vitality of the bin, so that you're not just adding worms to a sterile substrate. Okay, so if at all possible, trying to inoculate your bin with microbes, whether that be through something like bokashi, right, which means that you're getting a big boost of microbial activity in the bokashi pre-compost, and then adding that to the bin. Obviously you wouldn't want to add that out over the entire bin, but you could add that to a corner of the bin. That gets things started. The fact that the microbes are present and active in large numbers is really helpful, and really helps the worms to get a good start in the bin. So I'm really excited for this bin. We've kind of done that with the leaf litter, as whether you use it as a bedding, like I did in the first bin over here. When I started that bin, I used leaf litter largely as the bedding. Or if you're just doing what we're doing here with a fungal dominant bin, and the entire thing is basically leaf litter, with the exception of this jute bag that the leaves actually sat in for months outside. So, really cool. Either way, we're gonna check on these guys again probably in a couple weeks. Just let them settle in and kind of get acclimated to the bin. But I'm really excited. Thank you so much for joining and being a part of this. This is one of our fungal dominant bins that we're checking out. And this is the one that we have with the red wigglers, or Icenia fetida. And they get a diet of fall leaves. So very excited to see them continue to progress in this. So our moisture looks good. We've got our grit that we've put around the edges largely of this bin, and I think it's ready to go. So we've got the worms in there. I don't see them on the surface anymore, which is good. And I think we're ready to call this a day. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you join us next time. We are in our leaf litter bin. All right, this is pretty cool. I wanted to show you right quick. I found this little critter, teeny tiny critter. I mean, just look at it relative to the size of the bin. I found this critter on the leaf litter, on the outside of the leaf litter bin. And just trying to get an ID on that thing, trying to figure out what it is. Try to zoom in on it again. It looks like almost like a little crab. It's got some massive front pincers. Could that be a tick or something? I don't know. But yeah, it looks pretty interesting. It's got some massive front pincers that it kind of waves around, and then it's got like an oval shaped body. Looks like it could be some kind of tick. All right, I'm back at the bin, still looking at this thing, and I think I've identified it. Let me see if I can just get a glimpse of it. And I think it's a pseudo scorpion, which is rather odd. It's just a rather odd creature. But apparently they're beneficial. So, you know, don't get carried away judging a book by its cover. So I'm glad it's in here. Apparently they feed on all kinds of other stuff, like mites and just other small flies and other kind of things. So really neat. Crazy to see it here in the bin. And it just shows you how much is all around us. I mean, this just came out of the leaf litter. So, yeah, incredible. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you're just as wowed as I am by some of the stuff that we can find in this bin.